Have you ever been called too sensitive just because you share your feelings? Would you like to stop feeling insecure, scared, judged, and stuck? And do you secretly wish you have his power and her confidence that they seem to be out of your reach? My name is Mushan Payersky. I'm the project manager, creative manager, graphic designer, community leader, and confidence and public speaking coach. Today, I'm going to share 3 tips to overcome insecurity and discover the power within yourself to build a life that you wanted. Why this topic is important is because insecurity is a feeling of not good enough and uncertainty and not worth self-doubt, constant self-doubt. That feeling can create anxiety about your goals, your family, and your relationships, and your dreams. It can affect your daily life and also your work. A recent study, a survey conducted by the nonprofit organization, the Female Need, 90% of 20,000 participants claimed that they have experienced imposter syndrome, which is a form of insecurity. It means the majority of us have some insecurity in some areas. Of course, a little bit of insecurity probably is okay. But what if you have too much? When the insecurity overpowering you, it can ruin your life. So in this talk, I'm going to share 3 framework or tips, ABC tips, to help you overcome your insecurity. If you are experiencing or struggling with your insecurity now, here is the place. It's the right place for you to be. If you think you are too confident, you have nothing needed to improve, this is probably not for you. So ABC framework, A stands for accept yourself. Remember, use a pen and a notebook now if you haven't grabbed one, because later on you will need it. And I already said A is accept yourself. B is build relationships. C stands for compare to no one. We'll go into details later and how step by step I will show you. This ABC framework saved my life, or at least helped me survive my insecurity. Before I start, I want to invite you to judge me. In fact, judge me. Do you think I'm a happy and confident individual, or you think I'm an unhappy and insecure person now? If you think it's the happy and confident, put 1 in the chat. If you think I'm unhappy and insecure, put 2 in the chat. I wouldn't be offended even if you put a 2 in the chat. Trust me. Have you done that? Okay. So, I'm a very lucky girl. I was born a happy girl, and also I'm happy now. However, I lived with insecurity in the majority of my life. I will start with another question. What's your strongest childhood memory? Is it a lollipop, a movie, a party, or is it a picnic, a toy, a family meal? Put it in the chat too. What's your strongest childhood memory? I also have many good childhood memories, such as chasing chicken and chasing with peers in the mountains and playing a lot of self-created games. There were a few bad, I don't know if bad, it's just some strong memories from my childhood that I often remember. Now, memory 1, you girls are useless. My grandma often told my 2 sisters and me to our faces. Not once, not twice, but every time when she saw us. She even tried to convince my father to give me away. And in fact, I was nearly giving away, but the person didn't want me. And because my grandma was the woman of the house, how ironically, right? Isn't it funny? She was a woman once. Oh, she was a girl once. But she thought girls were useless. Memory 2. My parents fought so much. I felt our family was a battleground. When I was 5 years old, on a sunny day, my parents and I were walking in a vegetable field. Probably my 2 sisters were in school, and my younger brother was too young. But I was 5, and I was working with them. Yes, 5. We started working in the field. And all of a sudden, I wasn't aware of anything. All of a sudden, I heard my mom crying and screaming. And I saw my father hitting my mom violently. And he was dragging my mom for yards. I pleaded and cried and frightened like normal, like usual, because that's just a usual thing. So stop and stop and stop. My voice was useless. My father didn't stop until he was too tired. Memory 3. Sugarcane and the invisible girl, me. Imagine I, the 3rd daughter from a family who grew up in the one-child policy era. If you don't know what is one-child policy, that is a population planning initiative in China back from 1980 to 2015 to control population growth in China by restricting families to only one child. During that time, particularly in the beginning of that time, girls were discriminated against, probably at the highest level in modern society. And my parents were lucky enough. They broke the law and they had my brother. My brother brought so much joy to us. My brother brought so much meaning to our family, especially to my mom. At the same time, he had all the privilege. He could get anything that my parents could offer. In my childhood, sugar cane was one of the special treats. You chew the sugar cane. I was such a patient girl. I would watch my brother to chew the sugar cane, and after he chewed the sugar cane, I would pick up the sugar cane, the chewed sugar cane, to taste it. But I enjoyed it with my heart full of joy and satisfaction. I had no complaint. No one could change the past. I didn't want to change the past. My parents couldn't change the past. My dead grandparents couldn't change the past. I didn't want to change it anyway. If it changed, maybe I wouldn't have my life now. However, my experience, how I grew up, it left me a strong sense of insecurity in me. I doubted my value, my worth. Fast forward, I was very lucky again. In my mid-20s, I met my husband, who is from America. And in my late 20s, we got married, and I moved to the United States. I love the freedom of speech, and I love the idea of equality and the American dream. I couldn't wait to start my new life with hope, with all the possibilities. Until I realized that I barely could understand a phone call. After a few times, I felt like the language barrier is almost like a thick wall blocked me between me and the beautiful world outside. My confidence started shrinking. And that's not the worst. After several months, when my husband was teaching me to drive, he started yelling at me. And I almost felt like I couldn't realize him. But of course, later on, he apologized. He said he was just too nervous. He cared for my safety. And I believed that. With gratitude and love, I forgave him for not just once, not just twice, and many, many times. However, the frequency of him yelling at me seems to be increasing. Although I knew he loved me and also he claimed to love me, but the words such as, "You're useless. Nobody does such," and "the idiot. You will never become American." Those words started eating my confidence that I built over time back in China. And the monster of insecurity in me started creeping into my head. And we started fighting a lot. One day, we had another big fight. He yelled at me so harshly, I couldn't bear anymore. I didn't want to fight anymore. I knew I would lose anyway. Without friends, without family, without a car, I left the house without anything. I walked in the neighborhood for hours. Tried to kill myself in front of a running car. I was spotting which car would be good to run over me. But every time, I was worried the consequences that I would cause for the driver, his or her family, and they would suffer from that. After hours, I walked home. The concern of others saved me. And over time, that ABC keys or secrets or tips or foundations, whatever, that helped me not only gain confidence, but also helped me turn my husband into a nearly perfect husband now. And I live a very happy life. I have a very happy family. Okay, now it's time for me to share my secrets. ABC framework. I hope by the end of this talk, you will take something away to discover your confidence. So, A, earlier I mentioned that A stands for accept yourself. During my time, I was struggling with insecurity, and when my husband calling me, "You were just too sensitive," when I was sad, when I was hurt. In the beginning, I only let my insecurity to take over me. I thought, okay, yes, maybe I was the one who was a failure and couldn't be strong enough, couldn't be rational enough. I was too sensitive. A lot of self-doubting. But later on, I realized that my feelings are my feelings. Nobody could take it away. Nobody can understand how I exactly feel unless they've been through the same. So later on, I told my husband how I felt, and I told him how I want him to change. If I just by being victimized and getting upset, he doesn't know how to change. Because maybe in the past, nobody told him so. I often say he was spoiled by the people before me. And I spoiled him in the beginning, but not anymore. So I told him he needed to acknowledge my feelings, respect my feelings. And if he loved me, he should change. And he did. If there's a true love, the person will change. Trust me. If it's not true love, if he or she doesn't love you anymore, then maybe it's time to leave. So share your feelings openly and express your ideas freely. Only when you are able to share your feelings and ideas and dreams freely, you can live your life fully. Second, build relationships. This is a way to find your support outside of you. That could be your friends, your family, or a church group, or a social group. I would like to share that with you, particularly that helped me gain the confidence. As 3 years ago, I joined the Toastmasters Club, XL Toastmasters Club. It's a public speaking nonprofit organization that helps people improve their public speaking skills. In the beginning, I only wanted to improve my English. And over time, I did not only just improve my English and my public speaking skills, it really helped me gain my confidence inside and out. Why? Because my speech club really supported me. That kind of supportive environment, positive environment, is where you want to be if you are struggling with insecurity now. If you are fighting alone now, you need some support. Sometimes if you have that insecurity, you may need a little bit external help, support. Or talk to your friends and family. When my mom suffered so much from my father's mistreatment, my father's family's mistreatment for years, she didn't go crazy and she didn't kill herself. The only coping method she used was sharing her anger and talking to whoever she could talk to. Now, some people would think it's annoying, but to her knowledge, to her intelligence, now I think that's smart. At least she survived. Because of that, we survived too. So find your support group. Build the relationship. It could be strangers too. And recently, when I was looking for jobs and I was a little bit lost, when I shared my desire for looking for a job, and my friend from Toastmasters, in fact, trusted me in doing a better job than myself. And the comparison, when I told my family I was going to give a TED Talk last year, one of them said, maybe it's better you go to do WFG. Do you know what is WFG? It's a multi-level marketing financial planning service, which I couldn't succeed probably. It means he thought I couldn't survive. I couldn't succeed to get to a TEDx stage. It's almost impossible. And another person said, oh, you may become an international embarrassment. You know, they are my dearest family. They love me without a doubt. But talking about supporting your dreams, sometimes some support, some social support, some other external friends and people can understand you even better. 3, okay, the third one is compare to no one. Yes, everyone has different standards of success and money and rich wealth. You don't need to compare yourself to anybody. When you are sleeping, you don't know if that person is running. Just think about the athletes running a marathon or 5K. They don't get to the finish line just because they started. They kept going. It's a little bit build up day by day. So imagine you have this ladder here. So just compare to yourself. Before you were here, now you may go here, maybe go here. Same as language. Beginning we just learned ABC, right? But now how much we learned? Just look at me. When I came here in my late 20s, I thought I would never be able to speak confidently like this. But just build up. And the result will be there. Due to time, I can't go much deeper. And I just want you, before I end my talk, I just want you to know you have the power within you. You just need to discover it. And with some support from outside, and with your own method, and trust yourself. I know it's not over time. So write down your dreams now. Write down your value now. You are valuable. You were born equal. So remember, accept yourself and build relationships and compare to no one. Use this framework to build your confidence and crush this insecurity. Crush it. And put it in a story box. One day you can talk about it. But now it's time to build your ABC confidence. Thank you. Wish you a confident and happy life.